Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers Channel. Today, we will learn about the issue of Jen Sidwell's dangerous escalation against Sonny Corinthos and how the mobster will find himself backed into a corner like never before. Sidwell's ruthless mindset after the Measure C defeat. Jen Sidwell has made it abundantly clear that he doesn't accept defeat gracefully, and his recent conversation with Ava Jerome confirmed what many Port Charles residents already suspected. When Measure C failed to pass, Sidwell's carefully crafted plan to legally seize control of Sonny's valuable waterfront piers crumbled right before his eyes. The outcome represented a devastating blow to his Port Charles ambitions. But anyone who expected Sidwell to simply pack up and leave town doesn't understand the calculating criminal mind behind those cold eyes. Sidwell has built his empire on adaptability and persistence, qualities that make him far more dangerous than opponents who rely solely on brute force. His philosophy centers on finding alternative routes when the main path becomes blocked, and he's already demonstrated this flexibility multiple times since arriving in Port Charles. The failed vote didn't extinguish his determination to acquire those piers. Instead, it merely forced him to recalibrate his strategy and explore darker, more twisted avenues to achieve his goals. The Professor Dalton body dump, a warning shot. Sidwell's handling of the Professor Henry Hank Dalton situation revealed just how sinister and strategic this villain truly operates. After eliminating Dalton as a liability, Sidwell didn't simply dispose of the body in some remote location where it might never be discovered. Instead, he orchestrated an elaborate setup designed to maximize psychological impact and create chaos for his enemies. By placing Dalton's corpse directly in Mayor Laura Collins' trunk, Sidwell executed a masterful move that accomplished multiple objectives simultaneously. He knew Laura's instinctive reaction would be to contact Sonny immediately, which would entangle both of them in a cover-up situation that could destroy their reputations and political standing. The brilliance of this move lies in its multi-layered implications. It demonstrated Sidwell's reach and audacity. It created potential blackmail material against both Laura and Sonny, and it sent an unmistakable message that Sidwell plays by his own rules. The body dump wasn't just about disposing of evidence, it was psychological warfare designed to destabilize his opponents and remind them that he can strike anywhere, anytime, in the most unexpected ways possible. Sidwell's December 4th Power Flex. The upcoming December 4th episode promises to showcase another demonstration of Sidwell's formidable power and willingness to cross ethical boundaries that most criminals wouldn't even consider. Spoilers indicate that viewers will witness Sidwell flexing his considerable influence in a situation that highlights his sinister capabilities and reinforces his position as one of the most dangerous threats Sonny has ever faced. This power display will likely involve leveraging resources, connections, or information that Sidwell has been carefully accumulating since his arrival in Port Charles. The timing of this move suggests that Sidwell has been patiently waiting for the perfect moment to strike, allowing his enemies to believe they had gained some breathing room after the Measure C victory. This calculated patience is a hallmark of truly dangerous strategists who understand that rushed actions often lead to mistakes and exposure. Whatever form Sidwell's power flex takes, it will serve as a stark reminder that the battle for control of Port Charles' criminal underworld is far from over, and Sidwell has barely begun to reveal the full extent of his capabilities and connections. Sonny feels cornered on December 5th. The December 5th episode will feature a pivotal moment when Sonny Corinthos finds himself in an extremely uncomfortable and unfamiliar position, feeling genuinely cornered by an opponent. For a man who has dominated Port Charles' criminal landscape for decades, experiencing this sense of helplessness and constraint represents a significant psychological shift. Sonny has faced countless enemies over the years, from rival mob families to federal prosecutors, but few have managed to maneuver him into a position where his options appear severely limited. The spoilers strongly suggest that Sidwell's power play from the previous day will directly contribute to Sonny's cornered feeling, indicating that whatever scheme Sidwell implements will be both effective and devastating. Sidwell appears poised to gain substantial leverage over Sonny, potentially through threats against his loved ones, compromising evidence, or some form of financial or legal pressure that restricts Sonny's typical responses. The situation will likely force Sonny to confront an impossible choice: surrender control of his peers to Sidwell, or risk catastrophic consequences for people he cares about. This cornered feeling will test Sonny's strategic thinking and emotional control in ways that few situations have managed to accomplish. Sonny's stubborn nature and potential responses. Anyone familiar with Sonny Corinthos knows that he doesn't respond well to being pushed, threatened, or manipulated by adversaries who think they can intimidate him into submission. His stubborn streak runs deep, forged through decades of surviving in the brutal world of organized crime, where showing weakness often proves fatal. Sonny has built his reputation on never backing down from confrontations, even when the odds seem overwhelmingly stacked against him. This stubborn refusal to bend has served him well throughout his criminal career, but it has also led to devastating consequences when his pride prevented him from making strategic retreats. In the current situation with Sidwell, Sonny's stubbornness could work either for him or against him, depending on how he channels it. While he certainly won't simply hand over his peers without a fight, the question remains whether he'll allow his ego to cloud his judgment about what response serves his long-term interests best. Sidwell is counting on Sonny's predictable defiance, which means the safest move might actually involve doing something unexpected that throws Sidwell's calculations off balance. The nuclear option: eliminating Sidwell permanently. Though Sonny generally prefers to avoid outright assassination unless absolutely necessary, he hasn't completely ruled out the possibility of permanently removing Sidwell from the equation. This nuclear option represents the ultimate last resort for dealing with an enemy who refuses to accept any other form of resolution. Sonny understands that killing Sidwell would bring its own set of complications and consequences, from potential retaliation by Sidwell's organization to increased scrutiny from law enforcement. However, if Sidwell continues to escalate his attacks and threatens the safety of Sonny's family members, the calculation might shift toward viewing elimination as the least bad option among terrible choices. Sonny has demonstrated throughout his career that he will cross any line necessary to protect his loved ones, particularly his children and grandchildren. The challenge with eliminating someone like Sidwell lies in the execution. Sidwell is clearly intelligent, well-protected, and likely has contingency plans in place for the possibility of his untimely death. Any attempt on Sidwell's life would need to be meticulously planned and flawlessly executed, or it could backfire spectacularly and make Sonny's situation even worse. Sidwell's willingness to cross dangerous lines. The most alarming aspect of Gen Sidwell's approach to warfare is his apparent willingness to target innocent family members, including children, to achieve his objectives. The attack on Rocco Falconeri in juvenile detention crossed a line that even most hardened criminals respect, demonstrating that Sidwell operates without the traditional boundaries that govern mob conflicts. Rocco is just a teenager who has no involvement in the criminal underworld, making him exactly the type of target that most organized crime figures would consider off-limits. Sidwell's decision to orchestrate violence against Sonny and Laura's grandson reveals a level of ruthlessness that transcends normal criminal behavior and enters the territory of terrorism. This willingness to harm children makes Sidwell uniquely dangerous because it removes one of the few predictable restraints that typically limit how far mob conflicts escalate. Sonny and Laura both understand that if Sidwell is willing to target Rocco once, he won't hesitate to do so again or expand his attacks to include other vulnerable family members like Donna, Avery, or even Baby Scout. Potential forms of Sidwell's next move. The upcoming episodes will reveal exactly what form Sidwell's next power play takes, but several possibilities emerge based on his established pattern of behavior. He might orchestrate another dangerous situation for Rocco, perhaps arranging for additional violence in juvie or even attempting to have the teenager transferred to an adult facility where threats multiply exponentially. Alternatively, Sidwell could intensify Laura's nightmare regarding the Dalton cover-up, potentially by creating evidence that ties her more directly to the murder or threatening to expose the body dump scheme to federal authorities. Another possibility involves Sidwell targeting Sonny's legitimate business interests, using his political connections to trigger regulatory investigations, zoning problems, or licensing issues that threaten Sonny's financial stability. Sidwell might also escalate by targeting other family members, perhaps going after Christina, Michael, or even Carly in ways designed to maximize Sonny's psychological torment. The most dangerous scenario would involve Sidwell creating a situation where Sonny must choose between protecting one loved one at the expense of another, forcing an impossible decision that will haunt him regardless of the outcome. The escalating threat to loved ones. As this dangerous game of chess continues between Sonny and Sidwell, the primary concern centers on the escalating threat to innocent family members who never chose involvement in this conflict. Sonny has spent his entire criminal career trying to maintain some separation between his illegal activities and his family's daily lives, though with limited success. The situation with Sidwell represents a new level of threat because this enemy specifically targets that family connection as his primary leverage point. Laura faces similar concerns as mayor and grandmother, torn between her public responsibilities and her private desire to protect Rocco from further harm. The coming episodes promise to deliver shocking revelations and dangerous confrontations as Sidwell's schemes unfold and Sonny scrambles to find effective countermeasures. Both Sonny and Laura will need to make difficult decisions about how far they're willing to go to neutralize this threat, knowing that half measures against someone like Sidwell might only provoke even more vicious retaliation. The question that haunts Port Charles is whether anyone can stop Sidwell before his escalating attacks cause irreparable damage to the Corinthos and Collins families. NEXT, we will dive into the iconic Quartermaine family Thanksgiving tradition and look ahead to the surprising moments awaiting Port Charles during the week of December 1st to 5th, 2025. The Quartermaine legacy, chaos at Thanksgiving. Every year, the anticipation around the Quartermaine Thanksgiving meal sweeps through General Hospital fans. While countless households serve their classic turkey and all the trimmings, the Quartermaines of Port Charles are infamous for never quite completing their own dinner as planned. Instead of feasting on homemade turkey, the family's tradition has evolved into a good-natured debacle, frequently culminating in a last-minute pizza delivery. This pizza Thanksgiving is more than a running joke. It has become a symbol of togetherness in the face of hilarious chaos. How the pizza tradition began. Going all the way back to 1994, the original Quartermaine pizza tradition began with a mishap few could have predicted. Leela and Edward Quartermaine prepared to host another magnificent meal, with devoted family members like Alan, Monica, AJ, Jason, and Ned filling out the table's formidable lineup. That year, fans witnessed a truly unforgettable scene when the family's beloved dog Annabelle, driven by her nose for mischief, managed to devour the Thanksgiving feast before a single Quartermaine could take a bite. Reginald Jennings, the loyal family butler, attempted to keep order but was no match for Annabelle's sneaky appetite. Flashbacks and fan memories. Longtime viewers celebrate these mishaps, and nostalgia for that 1990 for disaster floods social media every November. Classic images and vintage clips have become fan favorites, circulating with tags like classic and on this day. These moments capture the heart and humor of the Quartermaines, as even a ruined meal is a source of laughter and unity. Remembering Lila's gentle efforts to calm Edward and the family's good-natured bickering brings warmth to loyal fans' Thanksgiving memories. Family dynamics and hidden tensions. Beneath the comedic mishaps, the Quartermaine holiday tradition highlights deeper themes. Time and again, viewers see Monica and Alan exchanging sharp words while AJ and Jason try not to get drawn into family quarrels. Edward's outspoken nature always triggers some kind of blow-up, only for Leela to bring everyone back together with her dignified calm. Reginald's presence adds a touch of class, but he's resigned to the fact that the Quartermaine holidays will descend into friendly chaos. The recurring motif of a pet or another mishap ruining their dinner reflects the unpredictability and humor of family gatherings in Port Charles. Annibal's legacy and a new canine threat. Annibal, the heroic dog of 1994, isn't the only four-legged force to reckon with in the Quartermaine household. Decades later, in 2025, preview images show the family's current dog, Outback, present at the holiday table. Longtime fans now wonder if Outback will repeat Annibal's legendary stunt. Will another turkey disaster strike? Could pizza delivery become a foregone conclusion, not a punchline? The idea that lightning could strike twice or even become a permanent storm at the Quartermaine mansion underscores the unpredictable spirit of these annual episodes. Outback, the next generation. Outback, more playful and unpredictable than ever, is noted for her insatiable curiosity. With Outback hovering around the dining table, the tension mounts. Will the family get to enjoy their feast, or will they once again call for backup dinner? Actors and producers have hinted at comedic scenes involving Outback's quest for forbidden snacks. Perhaps she'll create her own unforgettable moment, possibly by collaborating with the house's youngest Quartermaine or involving the ever-watchful Reginald in a kitchen showdown. More than just a mascot, Outback now stands ready to carry on Annibal's legacy, making Thanksgiving a must-watch event for soap fans. The meaning behind the madness. Beneath the laughter and lightness, the Quartermaine Thanksgiving tradition holds a heartfelt message. Despite constant bickering, accidental food theft by pets, and abandoned culinary ambitions, the Quartermaines always end up together, sharing pizza and gratitude. Their holiday disasters remind viewers that perfection isn't what matters, connection does. The family sits around the table, recounting memories, forging new bonds, and embracing one another's quirks. Fans cherish these scenes not just for the comedy, but for their celebration of enduring love and resilience, even, or especially, when things go wrong. Looking ahead, 2025 and beyond. As December 2025 approaches, suspense is building over just how wild the Quartermaine holiday might become. Will Outback inspire a new pizza tradition, or will the Quartermaines finally defend their turkey from canine capers? Preview pictures suggest more mishaps, family confrontations, and perhaps an unexpected guest or two at the table. For viewers, Quartermaine Thanksgiving is no longer just a yearly episode, it's a shared legacy, growing richer with every outrageous twist. Next, we will learn about the explosive situation brewing between Jacinda Bracken and Michael Corinthos that could potentially tear apart the entire Corinthos family dynamic in ways we never imagined. What started as a seemingly straightforward arrangement between these two individuals has morphed into something far more complicated, and the ripple effects could devastate everyone in their orbit. The foundation of a fragile alliance. Michael Corinthos and Jacinda Bracken have constructed what appears on the surface to be a mutually beneficial partnership, one that serves both their immediate needs perfectly. Their connection revolves around providing each other with an airtight alibi for the fateful night when Drew Kane's world came crashing down. A night that continues to haunt Port Charles and raise uncomfortable questions among those who seek the truth. Fans who have been shipping this potential couple are investing emotional energy into seeing them develop genuine feelings for one another. But seasoned General Hospital viewers know better than to get their hopes up too high when it comes to relationships built on deception and convenience rather than authentic connection. The reality is that their entire foundation rests on quicksand, and any moment now, the ground could give way beneath their feet. As we've learned time and time again in the soap opera universe, relationships forged in the fires of necessity and mutual self-preservation rarely transform into the kind of epic love stories that stand the test of time. There's an unmistakable tension simmering just below the surface of their interactions, a sense that something is bound to explode spectacularly when the pressure becomes too intense to contain. Every scene they share carries an underlying current of unease, as if both parties are constantly calculating their next move and wondering when their carefully constructed house of cards will come tumbling down around them. Cracks in the carefully constructed story. The threads of Michael's meticulously crafted narrative are beginning to unravel at an alarming pace, and to formidable forces are pulling at those threads with determination and skill. Alexis Davis, with her razor-sharp legal mind and years of experience sniffing out inconsistencies, has begun to notice peculiarities in Michael's account of events that don't quite add up when examined under scrutiny. Harrison Chase, driven by his unwavering commitment to justice and his instincts as a seasoned detective, has similarly picked up on anomalies that suggest there's far more to this story than what Michael and Jacinda have presented to the world. Together, these two represent a formidable investigative team that poses an existential threat to the alibi that binds Michael and Jacinda together. Each question they ask, each detail they scrutinize, brings them one step closer to exposing the truth and shattering the illusion that has protected both Michael and Jacinda from facing serious consequences. The pressure is mounting with each passing day, and both members of this unlikely partnership can feel the walls closing in around them as Alexis and Chase methodically work to piece together what really happened that night. The stress of maintaining their story under increasingly intense scrutiny is beginning to show, and it's only a matter of time before one of them cracks under the pressure or makes a critical mistake that exposes everything. The disrespect that could change everything. What makes this situation even more volatile is the underlying tension in how Michael treats Jacinda, a dynamic that has erupted into conflict on multiple occasions now. Jacinda may work as an escort, or at least she used to operate in that profession, but she absolutely refuses to be treated with the condescension and dismissiveness that Michael occasionally displays toward her. She has made it abundantly clear that she possesses dignity and self-respect, and she won't tolerate being looked down upon or treated as if she's merely a commodity that Michael purchased for his convenience. From Jacinda's perspective, this is a straightforward business arrangement between two adults who each bring something valuable to the table, and she's simply taking advantage of an opportunity that presented itself at exactly the right moment. She isn't being compensated to develop romantic feelings for Michael or to play the role of devoted girlfriend beyond what's necessary to maintain their cover story. She's a professional who understands the terms of their agreement and expects to be treated as an equal partner in this endeavor, not as someone beneath Michael's social standing. However, if you were to ask Michael about the nature of their arrangement, his perspective would likely reveal a different interpretation entirely. He would probably characterize this situation as one where he's paying Jacinda for her time and cooperation, much like he might hire any other professional service. This fundamental disconnect in how they view their relationship and each other creates a powder keg situation that could explode at any moment. One wrong word, one dismissive gesture, one instance of Michael treating her as less than an equal could be the catalyst that causes Jacinda to completely pivot her strategy and pursue a path that serves her interests far better than continuing to play along with Michael's charade, a strategic pivot toward greater power. This is where the situation becomes truly intriguing and potentially explosive for the Corinthos family. Jacinda has demonstrated time and again that she's attracted to power, influence, and the security that comes from aligning herself with men who command respect and wield significant authority in Port Charles. Given that predilection, some astute General Hospital fans have begun speculating about a scenario that would send shockwaves through the family. What if Jacinda decides that Michael, for all his wealth and position, is merely the younger, less impressive version of a far more formidable Corinthos patriarch? What if, instead of settling for the son, Jacinda sets her sights on capturing the attention and affection of Sonny Corinthos himself? Sonny represents everything that Jacinda seems to crave: raw power, unquestionable authority, a dangerous edge that makes him endlessly fascinating, and a reputation that commands both fear and respect throughout the entire city. From a purely strategic standpoint, if Jacinda's goal is to secure her position and align herself with someone truly powerful, pursuing Sonny instead of Michael would represent a massive upgrade that could set her up for life. Just because Jacinda has expressed interest in becoming part of the Corinthos family doesn't necessarily mean she envisions that happening through a romantic relationship with Michael. There are multiple pathways into the inner circle of such a powerful family, and a clever, ambitious woman like Jacinda would certainly be capable of recognizing which path offers the greatest potential for long-term security and influence. If she can successfully pivot from the son to the father, she wouldn't just be joining the family, she'd be positioning herself at the very center of power within it. The fateful encounter at Metro Court. The seeds for this potential dramatic shift may have already been planted during a seemingly innocent encounter last week that observant fans picked up on immediately. When Sonny happened upon Jacinda dining with Michael at the Metro Court, something electric seemed to spark in that moment, a chemistry that didn't go unnoticed by those paying close attention. Several General Hospital viewers reported seeing what appeared to be a glimmer of genuine excitement flash across Jacinda's face when Sonny approached their table, a reaction that seemed disproportionate to a simple introduction to her supposed boyfriend's father. Sonny, for his part, appeared unusually eager to make Michael introduce him properly, inserting himself into the situation with an intensity that suggested more than casual parental interest in his son's new relationship. It's important to note that this doesn't necessarily mean Sonny was consciously attempting to pursue his son's girlfriend or undermine Michael's relationship, at least not yet. However, Sonny's long, complicated history reveals a man who has repeatedly allowed his personal desires and emotions to override his better judgment, particularly when beautiful, intriguing women enter his orbit. He's demonstrated time and time again that when his feelings become engaged, his ability to maintain appropriate boundaries becomes severely compromised, even when those boundaries involve his own children's relationships and happiness. This character flaw, this inability to consistently prioritize doing what's right over satisfying his own emotional needs, has caused tremendous pain and conflict throughout his life. And there's no reason to believe he's somehow become immune to that pattern now. The manipulation that could destroy a family. If Jacinda possesses the cunning and strategic intelligence that she appears to have, she would certainly recognize Sonny's vulnerabilities and understand exactly which buttons to press to work her way into his world. She could employ subtle flattery, demonstrate interest in his business and his perspectives, position herself as someone who truly understands and appreciates the complexities of his life in ways that others don't. A woman with her particular skill set would know how to make herself seem indispensable, how to create situations where Sonny finds himself thinking about her more and more frequently, how to establish an emotional connection that feels genuine and significant. The potential for Jacinda to deliberately insinuate herself between Sonny and Michael represents one of the most devastating scenarios that could unfold in the coming weeks and months. Father-son relationships are complicated under the best of circumstances, but the Corinthos family dynamic has always been particularly fraught with tension, unresolved issues, and competition for dominance. Introducing a woman into that volatile mix, a woman who might be deliberately playing one against the other for her own benefit, could create a rift between Sonny and Michael that might prove impossible to repair. If Jacinda successfully executes this kind of manipulation, she could position herself as the center of a family civil war, with both men competing for her attention and affection while their own relationship deteriorates beyond recognition. The consequences would extend far beyond just Sonny and Michael, impacting every member of the Corinthos family and their various business interests throughout Port Charles. Can you envision this scenario playing out? Can you see Jacinda coolly calculating her moves, recognizing that her best path to lasting security and power lies not with the son who sometimes treats her with barely concealed contempt, but with the father who represents everything she truly desires in a partner? The stage is set for a potential explosion that could reshape the entire landscape of General Hospital's most powerful family, and Jacinda Bracken might be the match that lights the fuse.